What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Movie Emporium's movie review of Werewolves, the newest film from director Stephen C. Miller. Alright guys, Werewolves, the film that is about werewolves who have decimated 1 billion people in the United States. This movie stars Frank Grillo as I guess you would call him scientist, who is basically attacked by werewolves. And in the process of everything, he has to defend himself and the people around him, including his family, from a werewolf attack during a supermoon. So in essence, this is an action horror film in the middle of December that is about werewolves in a Purge style world where every supermoon people have to defend themselves a la the Purge, but with werewolves. So in the process, we have Lou Diamond Phillips in this movie. He has a small bit part, and it's a movie about werewolves attacking people and the nature of people trying to get back home to their family. Okay, so Werewolves. Yeah, Werewolves was a film that I didn't know much about, but I was sent a screener for it. It's one of those movies, once again, like I said in my synopsis, usually releases in December to kind of counter program all the holiday movies coming out. And this garnered some critical praise from people like C. Robert Cargill and some other people that really love horror films. So I was interested, to be fairly honest. The trailer looked okay. I wasn't going into it with much optimism. And it has Frank Grillo, which I actually enjoy as an actor. I think he's pretty competent as an action actor. And I just didn't really have any feeling on whether this movie was going to be good or not. So going into it with my honest review, I'm going to be the only one that hates this movie, but I really hated this movie. I really didn't like it. It's nothing on Stephen C. Miller. It's nothing on the writer. I don't feel the movie is well put together. I think the transformations that happen, I think the werewolves themselves are pretty well put together when it comes to that point. But the story is haphazard. It feels like The Purge, the werewolf edition. And I never really felt like it did much of anything new. I don't feel like it was that interesting. I don't feel that it had much going for it. But it has kind of a cool concept. It starts with Lou Diamond Phillips talking about the supermoon and stuff like that. The idea of like this virus, this is very much a play on the COVID virus about how it triggered and caused a lot of issues, and now we have werewolves that have killed billions of people, and people are defending their homes every supermoon, and they're trying to find a cure. It's very much leading to that realm of, a major virus or something like that. But I think what this movie's main problem is it just doesn't have a structure. It doesn't really have, it goes from point A to point B. It goes through all these characters, but it's kind of confusing, to be fairly honest. The gore and violence is cool, but I still want a story. And I think The Purge, as kind of mediocre as the first one was, I do think they get better. So if this movie does halfway decent, there could be another werewolf movie, especially with the way it leads off. But I think, honestly, it's releasing because it's counter-programming, to be fairly honest. I think this would be in a movie that you found on the shelf of Blockbuster that was bought with a selection of movies because you wanted the bigger movie, and that's kind of where it leans. It doesn't really do anything exciting. It doesn't do anything new. It just has gore and violence, and that's all you want. I think you'll enjoy this movie because, once again, the creature effects in this movie are actually top notch. I think they're really well done, feel realistic. They feel like something that Stan Winston would have done. There's a lot there to like, but I just think the story is so hampered down by cheesiness, so hampered down by the state of America and the state of the world. I think it's a movie that really tries to intentionally be kind of goofy and B-level grade material, but it just doesn't exceed at that. It really doesn't. Like the way the werewolves transform and the way they're trying to find the virus, and the guy who's like the redneck, and it all feels too kind of, it feels cheesy. It feels so cheesy that it's actually kind of bad. And maybe this will be one of those too bad or so bad it's good type of films, and it'll be appreciated for what it's worth. But I think the premise could be done so much better, so much more interesting than what we get here, to be fairly honest. It was originally called Year 2. So kind of like, leaning into that, making it feel like, lean into like the idea of like a family having to protect themselves during a werewolf attack. There's a lot there, and there's bits and pieces of that in the movie, but things happen with characters that just doesn't make any sense. There's issues and problems with the narration and the ideas of like how everything forms, and I I think in the end, I just didn't really like this film. I mean, I think it was a pretty terrible film, and it really wasn't something that I can recommend on a movie level. It really isn't something you'll probably see on Shudder or something like that, which is where it's meant to go. But I think in the end, I just wanted more out of this movie. I could take good, violent horror films. Like, we've seen a lot of good horror films this year that have leaned into violence. And A Violent Nature is a perfect example of a good horror film. But Werewolves is just not that. It's just not something I found really that interesting at all. So that's what I take on this movie. Other people will like it. I may be in the minority when it comes to this movie if people like it. But overall, just not a fan of Werewolves. So there you go. But with that said, that's kind of where I lean. Once again, that's my feeling on the movie. So with that said, thank you so much for watching my review of Werewolves. It'll be in theaters, probably on VOD very soon. So if you enjoy it, let me know in the comments why, or if you like werewolf movies, let me know what your favorite one is. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. If you like what you see on this channel, hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium. Hit that notification bell at the top to find what's coming next. If you like this video, awesome. Hit that like button. As always, we'll see you guys on the next video. Peace out, guys.